So, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Wellspring. My name is Martha Ward, and I'm part of your Sunday, September 12th service team, and it's a great pleasure to be here this morning with you all. Now we have a few announcements. Early Birds continues to meet on Sunday mornings at 9:30 via Zoom. The link is in the weekly email and on the website. Upcoming speakers next week will be Jeannie Geringer, and then on the 26th, Dr. Edward Burbaugh. All right, lastly, our prayer team remains ready to serve and support you. You may submit a request via our webpage, or you may contact Martha Ward or Geneva Collins with your request. There usually are requests in the back on the table. I'm not sure if we still have some, but that may be another alternative. Our prayer team meets virtually on Tuesday afternoons at 4:15 to pray with you. You may consider sitting in your quiet space during that time. We know we are one in spirit, and the energy of prayer knows no limits. So now, please settle in to wherever you are, into your seats, and take a deep breath and just release any anxieties or stresses involved with being here this morning. And in this quiet space, let us focus in on our reason for being here, our great opportunity to be together and to acknowledge the presence of Spirit, that one great energy, that one great creative force that not only has created all of us, but is all of us, is within each and every one of us. Spirit is everywhere at all times. There is no place where Spirit is not. And so this morning, let us know that we are one with that source of energy, that Spirit, that great love, that great harmony and wisdom. And after all of our ceremonies yesterday in commemoration of an event in New York City and in Washington, D.C., the day after was a day of unity and unification. People came together in response from all around the world. And so this morning, on the 12th of September, we are one with that Spirit once again. And we give great gratitude to everyone involved, to all of the support team, the firemen, the policemen, the pedestrians, the people within the buildings themselves who not only took care of themselves, but who reached out and tried to assist others. And so with that combined spirit of oneness, many lives were saved. And so we give great gratitude to the angels and the forces that were looking out for us all. And we release these words and say, and so it is. Now, please stand if you are able for our song of joy, the Red, Red Robin.
There we go. When do we have a shortage of microphones? Oh, well. Go ahead. There'll be no more sobbing when he starts throbbing his old sweet song. Wake up,
mission and our affirmation. Our vision to elevate spiritual consciousness in the world. Our mission to support individual spiritual quests through celebration, study, counsel, loving fellowship, and service. And our affirmations. I am aware of all the good that is within and around me. God flows through me and out into the world, touching all with whom I come into contact. I recognize my divine center and know that this divinity exists in all that is. I am grateful for the creative power within me and allow it to flow and shape my experience. And we're going to have special music now, but right after that, our new minister, Kamatara Johnson, will be joining us to talk about the Divine Mansion. So
today's testing. Hello. Okay. So today's song is going to be a sing-along. It's by Karen Drucker. It's called "God Is My Source." So we'll be repeating the verse over and over, and we'll be changing words as we go along. But I think you'll see it in the slides.
Yeah.
That's me singing.
Left hand, Mike. Stage left.
the reading this morning is from the Science of Mind text, the chapter entitled Finding the Christ. There is a place in the mentality, in the heights of its greatest realizations, where it throws itself with complete abandonment into the center of the universe. There is a point in the supreme moment of realization where the individual merges with the universe, but not to the loss of its individuality, where a sense of oneness of all life so enters the being that there is no sense of otherness. It is here that the mentality performs seeming miracles, because there is nothing to hinder the whole from coming through. We can do this only by providing the mental equivalence of life, by dwelling and meditating upon the immensity of life and the fact as vast, as immense, as limitless as it is, the whole of it is brought to the point of our own consciousness. We comprehend the infinite only to the degree that it expresses itself through us, becoming to us that which we believe it to be. So we daily practice in our meditations the realization of life. Infinite, indwelling Spirit within me, Almighty God within me, real substance within me, that which is truth within me. Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. How true this is! We cannot come unto the Father which art in heaven except through our own nature. Right here through our own nature is the gateway and the path which leads to illumination, to realization, to inspiration, to the intuitive perception of everything. And so it is. And now we will have dear Reverend Kamatara coming up to give us a wonderful message, as usual.
Well, good morning, Wellspring. Very happy to see you in the flesh, and hello in Zoom. Love you with my eyes. Okay. And I do have to say, while I was waiting this morning, I was overhearing the early birds having their amazing in-depth discussions, and it's always so humbling to just be a little fly on the wall and overhear the discussions, because the people here are just profound seekers and very advanced students, and I'm always humbled to even be here. So just with all due humility, I hope that what I shared today might, bring you a little bit of peace or a little bit of insight or something, because it's just what's on my mind right now, and what Spirit's been tapping me on the shoulder saying, sister, yeah, you need to work on this. Okay, that's what I'll do my talk on. So we'll see. We'll just give this a whirl. So, because I think right now, a lot of people, at least my friends or things I've been seeing posted online or different authors that I read, people seem to be feeling really exhausted right now and irritated and frustrated and like all the things we do when we're tired and hangry and all the craziness that's going on right now. And especially, the day after the 20th anniversary of 9/11, and right now, which seemed, wow, like 20 years. And now it's, we're living through the plague and everything that's going on. I mean, it just feels like I'm road weary. And my mom used to say, maybe your mom used to say this too, God never gives you more than you can handle. And my response lately has been, I wish God didn't think I was so competent. Oh, so whip baby Jesus. I'm like, could you tone it down, please, divine universe? Wow. Our little Star Trek. I'm giving her all she's got, Captain. I've got no more. Like, oh my God, my wee little heart, just like, I can't take another scrap of grief or like another current event or just wow. So I read this really interesting blog post from a favorite author of mine who really captured what we might be feeling in this very human, raw, tender moment. And her name is Nadia Bowles-Weber. She's a very edgy Lutheran minister, if that's even possible, true story. And she is a New York Times bestselling author and just really an amazing philosopher and spiritual powerhouse. And she gave this great comparison of a fuse box. And if any of you grew up or maybe you own an old house that has a really small fuse box, you know that there was not a lot of space to have a lot plugged in, because back in the day there just wasn't a lot you had to plug in. So it was fine, right? It worked. But nowadays, just picture your own house or your own apartment where you live. Like, how much stuff do you have plugged in? The washer, the dryer, the dishwasher, the stove, the fridge, the microwave, all the electronics in every single room. And then you just go to like use the hair dryer and you blow up your house. It's like there's not enough to go around. So she makes this analogy to now. She says, I just do not think our psyches were developed to hold, feel, and respond to everything coming at them right now. Every tragedy, justice, sorrow, natural disaster happening to every human across the entire planet in real time, every minute of the day. Welcome to the internet. She says the human heart and spirit were developed to be able to hold, feel, and respond to any tragedy, injustice, sorrow, or natural disaster that was happening in our village. Yeah, not the whole globe, the whole kit and caboodle. And then she goes on to give advice about, well, then, maybe we need to get our focus to be a little bit smaller and handle what we can handle. And that's really good advice. I have given that advice to my own students, even to myself, like, okay, if I'm overwhelmed, I'm just gonna take it one step at a time. I'm gonna pull out, I always call it my 1-inch picture frame. And I'm just gonna look at this one little thing. And that can be really helpful, but maybe not in this moment. I'm gonna respectfully disagree in this moment. I think the pain of what the pain of what I am experiencing right now is maybe the pain of being too small. Like I'm stuffing way too much in this little tiny space that I think is me. As my friend Mason used to say, that's like shoving 10 pounds of pig poo in a 5-pound sack. Right? Okay, little humor, all right. So yeah, like sometimes it hurts when we go too small. And as Reverend Michael Bernard Beckwith likes to say, you can be pushed by the pain or you can be pulled by the vision. And I think we're in that squishy in-between place where it's like both and, like everything's kind of happening at once, and it's the growing pains of what wishes to emerge in this moment. And I really want to suggest to us that we are way bigger than we might think. In fact, another blog post that I love is from Reverend Dr. Jim Lockhart. He's a New Thought writer. And he had this great quote from Francis Weller in his most recent blog post that says, the work right now is to become immense. We have to get our arms around immense things. Violence, hatred, bigotry, racism, and also around love, compassion, and a devotion and a certain fidelity to protect what is alive. We have to become immense. This is not a time to become small. So the $64,000 question is, how do we grow into the immensity of this moment in history? Well, we are complex beings, And I know that we exist in the confluence of I am human and divine. So I want to kind of give a nuanced, complex response. I want to do some ideas on the human side because yes, like we are experiencing this and it's raw and it's tender and my wee little human heart needs some help. Yes, like I don't want to dismiss what we're feeling and just do a spiritual bypass. That's not okay. So we're going to do some human side, but I also would like to take a divine look at it as well, like both and, so we can have, all the bases covered here. So let's think about that good old fuse box that's way too small. We've got some options here. The first thing we can do, which is kind of obvious, is clean it out. What the heck is plugged into it? Do I need all the stuff that's plugged into it? There's some old things plugged into my fuse box. Holy cow. I'm like, I don't even remember plugging that in. Where did that come from? What does this cord even go to? I don't know. Do you have a big old bag of cords in your closet and you're like, I'll need those someday? And you're like, what? I don't even know what this goes to anymore. Okay, so that's the analogy. It's time, if you haven't already, to deal with the old stuff. What have we been stuffing into the spiritual junk drawer and just walking away and not dealing with it? This is a great time to clean it up, not just stuff it in more and slam the drawer and walk away. No. I don't know about you, but I'd say about the first week in August, my spiritual junk drawer just popped open like a cash register and was like, oh, you're going to deal with this. I have been so grieving. Maybe the last 4 to 6 weeks, I've just been like buckets of tears and like honoring things, sitting with them, letting them go, working with practitioners. I've just been a hot mess. And I'm just owning that right now, that like there's a whole bunch of stuff that I have not faced. And it's all coming up. So really think about, is there anything that's just taking up too much space in your life right now? Or just it's just hurting? Or like, yeah, there's this old thing hanging out there and I've never dealt with it. Or this person, this event, and yeah, I really need to clean it up. Because it's just like having that undone task that just wears on the back of your brain and takes up way more space than it should in your fuse box. So one way to deal with the small fuse box, clean it up. Is there anything that comes forth for you that needs to get cleaned up? All right. Another way that we can deal with the small fuse box is to just upgrade the fuse box. You can add a whole bunch of more banks to it, and that's fine. And actually, the way we do that is exactly what you're doing right now. High five. We're going to church. We're doing our daily spiritual practice. We're reading sacred texts. We're connecting with people and sharing the journey. Yeah, you've got that in spades. So when you're doing your spiritual practices, you are upgrading your wiring, your internal infrastructure to handle what is going on in life. Good job. Keep doing that. All right. So another thought, in addition to, okay, we clean up the old stuff, we expand our wiring and our infrastructure, yes, but could we add rooms to the house that is us? Could we add rooms for divine qualities we would like to welcome in our lives? And for those of you who live in an Adobe house, you'll get this little joke. You know how back in the day, be like, oh, we're having a baby, blah, add a room. Oh, we're having a baby, blah, add a room. When you look at an Adobe floor plan, it's all crazy. It makes no sense. But we need to make more room. There's more to us. Life is more complex. Okay, let's add more room. So what qualities of the divine would you like to make room for? Really conscientiously welcome into the house of your experience. I know right now I'm welcoming compassion for myself, for others, and honestly, I have never seen so much compassion as I am experiencing now in the world. Even though I understand things are raw, the flip side to that has been so much compassion. I'm also building a room for joy, because people are so serious right now. And I understand there are serious things going on. Absolutely. I'm not trying to say there's not. But I need to balance it by having fun. And that little Red Robin song, oh my God, that was just like the cutest thing. It was like instant bliss, singing this happy little song, Bob, Bob, Bob. Okay. Oh my God, it was so precious. I love that. And remembering to be in nature and play games and to go to the museum and to hear live music and, just to have fun. I'm building room for that very conscientiously. And I'm also building room for creativity, to welcome new ways of being and doing that just make life easier, better, richer, wider, like that continuous quality improvement that we like to do. Even if I fail, I'm going to take some risks and I'm going to try some new things, and I'm welcoming that into my life. So what addition would you like to build to the house that is you? What qualities of the divine would really help you right now? What room would you like to sit in? And this really reminds me of a quote in the Bible. In fact, it is from John chapter 14 that, Miss Martha, when she was reading the quote from Ernest Holmes, was the whole I am the way, the truth, and the life, we know of Jesus. And what I'm going to quote is actually just before he says that. And maybe you already know this if you happen to come from a Christian background. He says, "Let not your hearts be troubled. No one enters the Father but by me. Believe in God. Believe also in me. And in my Father's house are many mansions." So the let not your heart be troubled, that's the clean it up. Clean it up, get it out. Don't let your heart be troubled. The believe in God, believe also in me, and that's Jesus, me. That's the I am. Like, we're believing in this divine big thing that's going on. There's something sacred here. And we're believing in ourselves, the Christ within. Talk about upgrading your fuse box. Like, if you can really own that, wow, that is powerful. And when I was growing up and I asked about in my Father's house are many mansions, I was like, how can you have a house and then inside the house are mansions? Like, silly me expecting the Bible to be logical. And and then, of course, my wonderful priest was like, well, in my Father's house is heaven. And that in heaven, it's really expansive. Like, there's mansion upon mansion, room upon room. And mansions implies the rich qualities of it. It is sumptuous. It is amazing. Okay, fine. But in New Thought, we know in my Father's house, yes, it is heaven. But here's from the good old we believes in Science of Mind. We believe that heaven is within us and that we experience it to the degree that we become conscious of it. So guess what? This is my Father's house. We're in it right now. So what does that make the mansions then? Feel it coming? Can you tell where I'm going with this? You are the mansion of the divine. Let's try to own that for a second. I am the mansion of the divine. And the different rooms that I have are the different divine qualities of the divine that make up who I happen to be. Like, this individual container called Wellspring Kamatara has these, qualities. So when you experience me and these qualities I happen to bring to the forefront, you're experiencing God, the divine. From our friends over at Unity, Gary Simmons, there is only one relationship, and that's with God. Everything else is an outpicturing of that. So if I can own, and I mean own, that I am a mansion of the divine, what problems are there? There's no fuse box. We're infinite. In fact, back to the we believes, we believe in the eternality, the immortality, and the continuity of the individual soul forever and ever expanding. So if I am a mansion of the divine, if I am an expression of the infinite, I'm infinite now. I don't have to die for the clock to start ticking. I'm infinite now. I have access to the infinite warehouse of possibilities now. And from this expanded sense of self. Yes, I have skills to help the human side of me. Yes, I need that. And I can have this divine perspective. I can break the spell of separation. And the way that I like to break the spell of separation is a little affirmation that says, I am aligned with the divine that is the presence and power within. Let's try that on for size. Let's do the first half. So I am aligned with the divine. I am aligned with the divine. And the second half is, that is the presence and power within. That is the presence and power within. Let's try putting it all together and say it con un alma fuerte, like say it with conviction. So I am aligned with the divine. That is the presence and power within. Ooh. Did you feel that? Like the whole room just went, whoa. And I hope you're feeling that in Zoom land too, in your own home. I bet your home just went, whoa. And your neighbors were like, wow, I want to party with that person. What's going on in that house? Woo! Because in this perspective, problems dissolve in expanded awareness. There's no problem. It's only the divine waiting to be known all over again. Or as we like to say, there's nothing to heal, only God to be revealed. And this is our natural state. This is where I would disagree with this beautiful minister about the small fuse box. We are hardwired for infinity. We are right now hardwired for infinity. It is our natural state. And in the infinite, there is no big or small. It just is. And there's nowhere to go because you're already there because you're here. So for Michael Bernard Beckwith, he says, you did not come to earth to be anxious, afraid, and worried all the time. No, that is not natural. It may be normalized, but it is not natural for the sons and daughters of the Most High God. And as you are choosing the higher order of being and expanding your context, you become a living ambassador, an emissary of the next stage of human evolution, the next stage of what's trying to emerge. And you get to choose that in a very powerful way. So how are you choosing to show up? Is it teeny weeny? Is it dimming your light? The light under the bushel, right? We know our Matthew chapter 5, verse 13. All right. So no, we're going to let that light shine for all that it may be seen, and people can remember who and what they are, because we are embodying that which we wish to see in the world. In fact, there's an interesting language shift that's happening right now in current events. Have you heard people, instead of saying pandemic, they're saying endemic? There's been an interesting shift right now, endemic. And some people are saying it kind of like with resignation, like, oh yeah, this is just the way it is. Endemic means a regularly occurring condition. And I've only heard it used in negative ways, like, oh, crime is endemic in that neighborhood. That's how I've heard it used. And they're saying it about COVID, like, oh yeah, it's not a pandemic anymore. It's just endemic. It's just how life is. Okay, let's check the Eeyore and put that aside. Okay, thank you, Eeyore. What if we could have a positive endemic with the qualities of the divine that we're welcoming right now, where people say, wow, compassion is endemic in our world. Joy is endemic in our world. A sense of kindness, grace. What do you want? Belly up to the infinite warehouse and make an order. You know, what are we doing here? We believe in this stuff. Let's make it happen. And the greatest part is that we're living in the nexus of being human and divine. We can choose. Yeah, I am going to clean up my old stuff. The stuff that's weighing me down, yeah, it's time. I'm cleaning it up. I'm getting help. I'm kicking butt and taking names. All right, good job. And I'm doing my spiritual practices to help with my stamina so I can keep going. And I'm welcoming more and more qualities of the divine to expand the mansion of who I am. Because when we really do that and own that we are mansions of the divine, then we're ready to draw power from the infinite no matter what happens next in our human experience. Thank you. Let's go to prayer. That's one of our power tools in science of mind, our spiritual mind treatment or affirmative prayer. And what's really neat about affirmative prayer is that it starts with God is all there is, right? So we're recognizing that divinity I was just speaking about. And then there's the I am, recognizing that alignment. And then from that place, we get to do the realization and then the thanksgiving and then the release. So it's really powerful to have these steps. If you ever wonder, like, what are they doing up there? Why are they saying all these things? That's what we're doing. All right, so let's do that together. As I turn inward, I raise my awareness and recognize that presence of the one loving source and all the beautiful qualities of the divine, the peace, the joy, the harmony, the compassion, the infinite potentiality, the delight, the wonder, the awe. And I recognize the chaos and the disturbance and the discomfort and all the messy goodness of being human, because all of that is God waiting to be known. And knowing there is no separation, I speak with complete confidence that I am aligned with the divine that is the presence and power within. I am a mansion of the divine, and people know the divine through me, in me, and as me. And because I am the place where God shows up, I speak my word for myself and for each person within the sound of my voice, that we own our true nature, that we recognize that we are hardwired for the infinite, that we are powerful beings, that we have the capacity to choose and to cultivate and to grow and to create a beautiful endemic experience of love and joy and compassion and abundance and all the wonderful things that we would like to experience more of in this world. And so I know that each person here feels, hears, and knows the calling of their heart. What is it that is ours to do? What are the qualities of the divine that we are to bring forth into the world? I welcome clarity and guidance and profound action steps and sheer gratitude for the bounty of this teaching, for the bounty of this spiritual community, for the bounty of sharing this journey together, to hold each other accountable and push each other and comfort each other and to help each other. Oh, it is such a wonderful gift being in spiritual community together and sharing this wonderful journey that is so tricky and so messy and so beautiful. So giving thanks for absolutely every scrap and piece and part of it, I take this whole prayer, everything that was said, and even the stuff that was unsaid that's in the dark corners of our hearts. I know that the divine hears it all, takes it all in, and that one mind, one love is on the job and is making things happen better than we ever could have even imagined or engineered or facilitated manipulated ourselves. We know that Spirit is expressing in, through, and as us. So I let this prayer go into the law, knowing that all is in divine right order now. and so it is.
Something's calling me. Something's calling me. Something's calling me a little bit deeper than I've ever been before. Feels like I'm walking on marbles. Can't still the earth beneath my feet. And is my head in the clouds, my naked legs left dangling. I can feel my heart begin to pound, and everybody's saying, something's calling me. Something's calling me. Something's calling me a little bit deeper than I've ever been before. Long dark night, my soul it wanders. Can't see the light that moves me. If God is everything and everywhere that I belong, Spirit gently wakes me from my sleep. Something's calling me a little bit deeper than I've ever been before. Something's calling me a little bit deeper than I've ever been before. Oh Lord, take me deeper than I've ever been before. Oh Lord, pull me deeper than I've ever been before. Oh Lord, I know I'm not the only one to live inside these blues. Oh Lord, I surrender my all to you. Oh Lord, I give my life to you. Oh, love is calling me a little bit deeper than I've ever been before. Compassion's calling me a little bit deeper than I've ever been before. My faith keeps calling me a little bit deeper than I've ever been before. Peace is calling me a little bit deeper than I've ever been before. God is calling me and I'm grateful like I've never been before.
Thank you, Barry and Edwin. These are the experienced musicians who know what to do with these things. I thank you all. That was beautiful. Thank you very much. Well, at this time, we have a special announcement, and I'd like to invite Judy Bethman up here to present that.
Kamatara, can you come back up here, please? For those of you that don't know, this past week, Kamatara had passed her orals. So she is now a full-fledged reverend. I don't know if I can touch you anymore, you know. So we thought that it would be nice to commemorate that. And we give you this, and because this is the heart of Wellspring, and when you walked into Wellspring, you got us immediately. So this is the heart of Wellspring, and you are part of our heart. Thank you. You want to open it up and show everybody? Yeah, that's fine.
It's all fancy. It's all fancy. Oh my goodness. Impeccable wrapping skills, not too much tape. Well done. Sometimes you need a rhinoceros with a blowtorch to get through the scotch tape, so. Oh my gosh, it's a box! No, just kidding. Sorry, I'm nervous. Oh wow, wow. Oh my goodness, it's all fancy. Hijola. Oh, it's a heart. Oh my God. Thank you so much. And I was just saying to Barry earlier that honestly, this is like the nicest, kindest, just like gentlest, most loving community I have ever been with. And there's no way I could have cut my teeth anywhere else. So thank you for letting me grow up here.
We are so fortunate to have you here, too. Thank you. All right. As you know, Wellspring tithes 10% of our income to community organizations, usually, that are doing charitable work. And so one of our recipients this last quarter was Unity of Las Cruces, and we have a lovely thank you note. So, Wellspring, thank you. Your financial gift and love offering increases prosperity in its every dimension, nurturing the abundance in this world in which we all live. Thank you so very much for your gracious generosity. So, with that in mind, we acknowledge and receive our virtual and in-person gifts. We give great thanks for the offerings already given and for those which we will be receiving, because we know that giving and receiving are both part of the one flow. We affirm that we are part of that flow. We bless these gifts and know they are multiplied throughout our community. And so there are a number of folks who have contributed to the production of this service, We are grateful for their service and we thank you for joining us today. So, and lastly, stay around in the Zoom meeting after the service to visit or join us in the social hall. So please stand and read with me the benediction, followed by our congregational song. Spirit in the midst of us is mighty. Joy, peace, and eternal life are our true nature and flow through us into the world, and so it is.